the market has topped. Or has it? So we're into an interesting trend line on the SPY, right? If you go back all the way to 2018, you clearly have this resistance line from the 2018 high to the 2021 high into where we're at today, and you can see clearly we are hitting the very, very top end of that resistance line. But the big question is, has the market topped? So we're going to look and break down where I think things are. We're going to go through all the indices, so you're going to want to stick around all the way to the end because I'm going to break it down and show you exactly where I think we are relative to all-time highs. So let's start with the SPY. As you can see, we have this previous all-time high here. We had the breakout. We had the subtle retest, but we really didn't have a clear and cut retest. So point number one, that actually leads me to believe we are going to truly retest this line. And I'm going to show you why I think that might be happening sooner than later. But I'm also going to be showing you why I don't think we are at all-time highs and why I do think we are going higher. So I'm going to lay out exactly why I think in the short term we are going to have some volatility. We are going to have a correction. But in the long, more macro picture, I actually see us going a lot higher. So here's kind of what I'm seeing. So obviously on the SPY, we are into this resistance, which I do think can present some short-term pullbacks for us, which I think are going to present great buying opportunities. So the next thing I want to look at is I want to take off this trend line that we just looked at, and I'm going to apply a parallel. Now that parallel is going to show us where we're at relative to that same time period. So if you take the touch points at the bottom, right, and you drag it to the touch points at the top, you can see we have just the one touch point. We never really hit it here. Now, could you drag this lower and make a case that we're into, and I'm going to show you this right now, could we make a case that we're hitting this trend line right now? The answer is yes, but look what it does to the bottom lines, right? It takes off the touch points. So the truer, more accurate parallel, in my opinion, is actually when you connect the bottom touch points and you get this area here, you get that touch point, you get a kiss, and then you get movement all the way up to about, 6,700, 6,800, depending on when we get there, maybe even 6,900. And that's why I think we're in an opportunity to pull back, truly test this line, truly test this median line, and go higher from here. So that's the SPY. Now let's look at the SPX, and you're going to see that we're in a similar kind of pattern here. So let's look at that. Let's zoom out and let's look at that same kind of parallel where you can see you have a touch point here, touch point here, touch point here, touch point here. You never had the touch point kiss. You never even really had a kiss here. And you can see that puts us with higher highs to come. And if we draw in this resistance line or support line, you can see we tried to break down through it here, and then it was saved. So that tells me buyers are stepping in, buyers are in control, buyers want to take us higher. But like I said, I do think this presents an opportunity on a short-term pullback. I'm actually going to draw in another line here with this pivot top here, going through here, and a case could be made that we're actually breaking out of this ascending wedge. Now, it's unconfirmed because you can see this never closed above. We had the move up, the close higher, but then we had a rejection here. So again, which leads me to believe I do think we're potentially going to get a pullback, some short-term volatility, but longer picture, looks really, really good. Now let's move on to the S&P futures. Again, similar story. We have this parallel, we have the touch point, and we have not hit the top end of this. So again, I think this presents opportunity to go to the upside from here. Now let's jump into the Nasdaq and let's look at it. Now, I drew a couple different parallels on here. So the first one is, I'm going to take this off. And the first one we want to look at clearly is this low, this high, this high. You can see we overthrew it, and a case can be made that we broke out. So that actually makes me want to ultimately draw this other parallel in from this point to this point, touching these and seeing where we're at today. So we're really kind of in a tale of two tapes here in the sense that there are two parallels We have an overthrow. We're breaking out. So again, I think this presents a case really where we can overthrow here, come back in, really retest this top end of this breakout parallel, and then move higher from there, right? So what might that look like? That might look like something like this. Get that retest, and then boom, we're going higher. So that's the Nasdaq for you. Let's jump into the Qs, check out how that looks. Similar thing, right? So, I mean, this is a really strong case for a bullish argument to the upside. Touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point, have not hit up here, which could take us as high as, believe it or not, 650 on the Qs. It's crazy. I mean, and that would align with a blow off top and a parabolic move to the upside. So let's continue. Next one up is the IWM. You can see, we've done some analysis on this. You can go back, check out my my previous videos, but you had this, you had this descending broadening wedge here. You had this inverse head and shoulders. We broke out of it and we were off to the races. Broke through the 150-day, came back, retested it, and now we're making our run to previous all-time highs. So you have this, the way I want to look at the IWM is you have this supply zone here, you have this demand zone here. We broke up through it. We never really back tested it. We're clearly above the 9, the 9, the 20, the 50, and the 150-day EMAs or SMAs, however you want to look at that. And we're targeting these previous all-time highs. I do think once we get there, we're going to hit our head. Potentially, we may even have a pullback prior, which will align with my short-term pullback. We might even do something like this. If this happens, this is a massive opportunity at 230 to reattack these highs. So, could we go straight there? Yes. I think there's a case to be made. We do go straight there, but I also could see the short-term pullback, which would give us an amazing buying opportunity at the 230s for a move to the all-time high. So that's how I see the IWM. I ultimately do see it breaking out. Once we get above this, that you want to look for, don't buy the breakout. Wait for the retest of it so that, it looks something like this, right? Say we get the breakout. You want to wait for that retest of the supply zone going to turn the demand zone, and that's where you want to buy it. You do not want to buy this breakout if it comes in a quick burst. Do not buy that. Wouldn't be a good move. Wait for that pullback. So that's how I kind of see the IWM. Next, let's look at the Dow. Now, this is further confirmation and more bullish thesis that we are not done. We are going higher. You do not break out of a triple top. And you really could look at this a couple different ways. You could look at it as an inverse head and shoulders, right? Boom, breakout. You could look at it as a cup and handle. Boom, breakout. And guys, the breakout happened and we had a retest. I mean, how beautiful is this? Breakout, back test, two nice hammer candles, back test, the SMA there. Look how well it respected it and held it. It's holding it, and we are going higher. There's no doubt in my mind on this that we're going higher. Now, can we do a pullback, and ultimately test it one more time and do something like this before going higher? Of course. So keep that on your radar. But again, the Dow looks good. The Dow looks like we're moving higher. Next up, let's jump into why I think there is going to be some short-term volatility. So I started the video off, obviously, with us hitting that supply and hitting that resistance line on the SPY, which I can reapply here for you guys just to walk you back through that logic here. Right there, right? We have that upper band resistance. We did hit our head on it. This presents an argument and makes me have a short-term bearish thesis, but only for the pullback that we really never had. Potentially we even overthrow it, get down in here, have some volatility going into the end of September, potentially into October. But then I see us, let's go back to the VIX. So why was my recommendation, or not recommendation, but rather thesis, that we potentially have put in a short-term low? Well, you have this, not an inverse head and shoulders, but you have the low, you have the lower low, but then you have the higher high. And then on Friday, this is what's super interesting to me. If you look at it, look at the acceleration, and look how the VIX got bought up going into the weekend. And then we're doing a back test on this upper range here. So if this holds and we get a close above 15 next week, I do think we're in a short-term correction, which could align with my bearish short-term thesis. However, like I said, long-term, I'm super bullish based on the historical analysis that I had showed you previously and those parallels. And then lastly, I want to jump in back to the SPX because I want to show you really, really long-term, right, and show you kind of where we're at. So if we go to logarithmic view, right, and we look at it through this lens and we go to the monthly time frame, I want to draw or bring your attention to something very, very interesting, right? So a couple ways to look at this. You can look at this by virtue of taking this trend line here and running it through this, right? So if we do that, we actually are into, which makes me again think short term, we might have a breakdown. We are into a major resistance here. Now, the interesting thing about this is, let me take off these other lines that we had drawn on earlier. Now, the interesting thing about this is we actually have a breakout that is unconfirmed at the moment. And how do I get that? Well, I want to show you. Oh my God, I'm making this difficult on myself, aren't I? Okay, we're going to pull this back and we're going to do some live analysis on this. So in logarithmic view, going back all the way to, let's get this pinpoint accurate, all the way to 1933, essentially, right, Great Depression, right before we had this fallout. You take that pivot top high and then you go in, you connect it through the pivot top high in 2001, right? So let's make sure that's pinpoint accurate and draw that in. Yes, it is. You can see right there. Now, we came up in 2001, kissed it, never really touched it. Let me take off this parallel for you real quick. That one right there. So we can see this a little bit better. Now, what's interesting here on the monthly chart is we came up, we went through it here back in 2020, early 2025, came through it. Then we never confirmed, right? Had this bullish structure, had this little bull flag, but then boom, here comes tariffs. Now, what did we do with tariffs, right? We went right to the previous all-time high, retested it, put in this massive monthly hammer candle, got bought up, and here we are. Boom. Month one, month two, month three, closed above it. Now, this is what's interesting, and this is what also makes me think we're going to backtest this. Okay. Monthly close above. Now, we have a confirming candle, which puts us solidly and decisively above this resistance line on the monthly chart, going all the way back to 1933. Let that sink in. All the way back to 1933. Now, we have a confirming candle. We have a confirming candle there, a move higher, and here we are today. So, wouldn't it make sense to do this and back test this and confirm if this is true, or confirm this and go this way? Oops. Let's take that off. Let's redo that. Okay, I'm doing this live with you guys. Okay, so back test here, right? Do we hit it and do we go higher? Or do we do this? Do we back test it, fall through it, and do something like this and go lower? So here's how you have to look at it. Preferred pathing or primary pathing number one, guys, is this one. Why is it this one? Let me explain. Because you confirmed above it. So now that becomes a major, major support line for a back test. The primary pathing would be it comes back test, and go higher, which would align with my other long-term thesis that, we potentially can go into the 7,000s. Or we do something like this. So let me take this one off. If we do something like this, come back in, retest this, and then we confirm below, then guys, all bets are off. We're in for a major correction that could take us, first target would be about 5,000. Second target would be much, much lower. So can this happen? Sure. Do I think it's going to happen? Not necessarily, not likely. The more probable path is that first one, and it looks more like this. So that's what I have for you guys. That's the major indices. Has a top been put in? I don't think it has. I think we're going to get a correction, go higher, and then, like I said, have some short-term volatility, but close the year out strong. Crypto. Look at crypto. So Bitcoin is holding strongly above 100,000. ETH is breaking out to all new time highs. The Bitcoin miners and speculative stocks, the small caps, everything's rolling, going much, much higher. That type of price action doesn't happen if we're at the very top. All of those risk assets are not going to be as high as they are with bullish structure, continuing higher. Again, it all leads me to believe short-term volatility, short-term correction, long-term, we're going higher. So that's what I got for you today. If you guys like the analysis, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I will continue to bring you meaningful technical analysis that will help you navigate these markets, take advantage of the volatility, and make a lot of money, and that's what it's all about. And I'll be doing a variety of different shows. Obviously, I've created my 3-banger, which is going to bring you the absolute best stock plays and stock analysis going into the next week, my highest conviction trades. I'm also doing 7 in 7, which is the 7 mag stocks recapped in 7 minutes. And then lastly, I'm doing another show where I'm going to do 20 stocks in 10 minutes, kind of like a lightning round, show you the short-term technical analysis of where I think those stocks are going. So you want to subscribe to the channel, and you want to be on the alert list to get these in real time. You do not want to miss these opportunities. So again, thank you for tuning in. Can't thank you enough for being a subscriber if you're already one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace and love.